there. Welcome back to Live, Love, Beach to Bay. It's Debbie, your Coastal Delaware real estate guide, and today we're going all in on the question, well, I get asked a lot of questions, but this is the question I get asked right now. Debbie, is it a good time to buy? And honestly, I love this question. I also kind of want to flip the table when I hear it the most and in a loving way possible, because the answer is not a yes, not a no. It depends. So remember, Live, Love, Beach to Bay, hit that subscribe button. And let me tell you what it depends on. Okay, so today we're gonna do just that. No fluff, no fake cheerleading, no pretending the market is something it isn't. Just real, honest, candid information. The kind I'd give my sister if she called and said, should I buy a beach house, Deb? My sister's name is Jen, by the way. We're gonna cover the market reality right now. The reasons people say it's a bad time and whether those reasons actually hold up. So this is the real deal. The reasons might genuinely be the right time for you. And the one question that actually matters most, far more than interest rates, is whether this is your first move and should you be thinking about this. So are you thinking about Coastal Delaware? Grab your coffee, your iced tea. We're doing this, okay? I'm not grabbing wine, it's too early in the day. But you know I do occasionally grab wine. So the market reality, no sugarcoating. I'm not sprinkling it with fairy dust. Let's start off with what the market actually looks like in Coastal Delaware right now. Because I think there's a lot of noise out there and I want to cut through it. I want to stop the noise, stop the chaos, and really talk about it. Inventory, while it's a little bit up, it is still historically low. Well below 2019, and it's been that way for a couple of years, but it continues to be very true in my market. So while we are seeing new listings hit the market, and that is truly changing the dynamics, the supply of quality homes, especially under that 600K price range, is still quite tight. That said, and this is important, the frenzy that we saw in 21, 22, remember that chaos? Where buyers were waiving inspections, writing love letters, offering $30,000 over asking price, and still losing. Well, that's not today. It's just not the market today. It is much more measured. Sellers still have leverage in most price points, but buyers have more time to think, more room to negotiate, and a real chance to actually do the due diligence that should be required for a major purchase like this. Prices have remained remarkably stable in Coastal Delaware. And in some segments, they've continued to appreciate. That's because the demand is still driving our market forward. People want to be here, from DC to Philadelphia to the New York corridors. They keep sending us buyers who are retiring, relocating, working remotely, or simply deciding that life is short and they want to live somewhere beautiful. It just doesn't get much better. The demand doesn't evaporate just because the rates are up. And I'm sorry to say, they're not where I want them to be. They are higher than the historic lows of 20 and 21, and I'm not going to tell you otherwise. But we've also seen rates move around, okay? And depending on your credit and a lot of other factors, we can work with you. Now, we would love to say there's going to be a gradual downward trend. I don't know. I am not an economist. For gosh sakes, I was an art major, okay? And anyone who has a crystal ball and tells you they know for sure, they're not telling the truth, okay? But here's what we do know, is that a market that is stabilized, that still has constrained inventory, which we do, still has buyer demand, which we have, and has rates that are not well in the historic lows that we would love, financing is available for the right buyer with the right prep, okay? I can help you make that happen. So the reasons people wait and whether those reasons they wait make sense. Okay, so let's talk about always the argument. I'm gonna wait because I know the rates are gonna come down. Okay, and that is something I hear every day, sometimes all day long. But I'm gonna be completely honest about whether each one of the reasons I hear why people are waiting is legit. Okay, so remember, Debbie always tells you the unvarnished truth. I'm waiting for the interest rates to come down. Hear it all the time. The honest truth is rates might come down and they might not come down, okay? And they might not come down meaningfully. But here's what happens in most markets when rates drop significantly. Do you know what happens? Home prices and competition heat up which means that buyers who have been sitting on the sidelines for 2 or 3 years rush back in. Simultaneously, the inventory that's already constrained gets competed over aggressively. That great house you could have bought this year with a reasonable negotiation, you're now in a bidding war over it. You're paying more for the house, even if your monthly payment feels similar because of a lower rate. Okay, so that's number one. There's an old saying in real estate, and I know it sounds like a bumper sticker, but it's actually quite true. Date the rate, marry the house. Okay, you can refinance a mortgage, you cannot change what you paid for the house, and you cannot manufacture a better location or a home you love more than the one that sold to someone else while you were waiting. Okay, and again, this is real deal. Now, is waiting for rates a totally irrational decision? Absolutely not. If your budget is genuinely tight and a rate drop would make a difference between uncomfortable and comfortable, it's not crazy to watch and wait. Just understand what you're trading. You might be trading a better rate for higher competition and higher prices. That's a real trade-off, and that's something to truly be concerned about. Okay, reason number two, I hear this one too. Oh, the prices are going to drop. The market is definitely stagnant, and they're definitely going to drop. I want to be very careful about this, and I'm not going to dismiss it entirely. Could prices soften in some segments of coastal Delaware? Theoretically, anything is possible. Markets do fluctuate, but here's what would have to happen for significant price declines in our market. A dramatic spike in inventory, a significant pullback in demand, or a broader economic disruption that affects buyer purchasing power. None of these things are clearly on the immediate horizon for coastal Delaware. Our market's demand is structural. It's driven by retirement, relocation, and lifestyle, not primarily by speculative investment. That makes it more resilient than, say, a market driven by house flippers and short-term investors. Waiting for a crash. Now, I'm going to be honest with you again. Back to the fact I'm not an economist, but I really don't see this, nor do minds bigger and smarter than I am. Okay? So, you want the equity, you want the lifestyle that you're dreaming about, lock in today before any more possible appreciation. Okay? Reason number three, I'm not sure it's the right time for me. Well, that is absolutely something I can't answer. And this is a very legitimate reason to wait. This is the one I actually respect the most. If you're not financially ready, if your credit score isn't where it needs to be or where you want it to be, if you're not comfortable with what your down payment and reserves are, if your income is a little unstable, do not rush into a home purchase just because the market feels okay. That would be terrible advice, and I will never give it to you, nor would I respect anyone who tried to give you that advice. If you're personally not ready, if you don't know where you want to live, if you haven't figured that out, whether it's a beach house, a lake house, a mountain house, a year-round home, a rental investment, if you haven't visited enough, to know the difference between the Rehoboth vibe, the Millsboro vibe, and everything in between, wait until you know. But I'm not sure about the market, and I'm not sure about my own situation are two completely different things. Know which one is actually stopping you. Okay? And that's personal. I can't answer this. Reason number four, I've heard it's a bad time to buy. Who did you hear that from? Honestly, I want to know, because a lot of the national real estate headlines have very little to do with coastal Delaware specifically. Our market has different drivers, different inventory dynamics, and a different buyer profile than the national average. Okay? When you read a headline that says, home sales down nationally, that's a macro data point that may have no bearing at all on what is happening in Lewis or Rehoboth Beach or Fenwick or Ocean View. Always apply local context. That's why working with someone who lives in the market, who knows the market, matters. And it matters a lot, okay? It really matters. Not just Debbie, but any one of the myriad of professionals here, okay? Hey guys, as much as I absolutely love making these videos, what I love the absolute most in making the videos is really talking, encouraging, nurturing your desire to know more about coastal Delaware. I've helped countless families. I've helped families from the Mid-Atlantic. I've helped families from the South. I've helped individuals from Metro New York and New England gather the information that helps them make the right decision if relocating here is what they truly want to do. So whether you're coming out next week, next month, or for gosh sakes in 2027, I would absolutely love to connect with you. If you've missed the on-screen pop-up, you can certainly find again all of my contact information linked below. So now let's talk about the reasons it might be the right time for you. Okay, so we're gonna flip it. We're flipping the script. Let's talk about the reasons that you could genuinely enjoy buying a home right now. One, you actually want to live here. Just like Debbie, I chose to live here. No one made me live here, I chose to. I know that sounds overly simple, but stay with me. The biggest factor in whether it's a good time to buy is whether you are at a stage in your life where buying makes sense for you. If you've been dreaming, as I close my eyes, about coastal Delaware living, if you've been visiting for years, falling in love with the restaurants, the beaches, the culture, the pace of life, and you have the financial means and the flexibility to make it work, then what exactly are you waiting for? Why wait? Okay? Life is not a rehearsal. I say that with complete sincerity. I've worked with buyers who waited a year, 2 years, 3 years, watched the home they wanted get bought by someone else. Had this conversation today. Watched prices climb, watched inventory stay low, and eventually they bought anyway, only at a higher price point. The person who bought 3 years earlier is sitting on equity, is waking up to the sound of the bay, is living the life they wanted. Time in the market beats timing the market almost always. I'll say it again. Time in the market beats timing the market. Less competition means better deals. Okay, so right now in many price points in our market, you have more negotiating room than buyers did in 21 and 22. And with Debbie, you definitely have an advocate. Sellers are more willing to negotiate on price, repairs, contingencies, maybe even a little help with closing. You can get an inspection, actually read it, and ask for things to be addressed without the seller laughing and moving on to the next all cash offer, no inspection. That is genuinely valuable. The ability to negotiate, to protect yourself, to take your time, that has real dollar value. Don't underestimate it at all. And with a great agent at your side, she or he will help you as well. Coastal Delaware has real economic advantages that aren't going anywhere. They're only going to get more important, okay? No state sales tax, no sales tax, no car tax. These are not small things. For a retiree moving from Pennsylvania or Maryland or New Jersey, the tax picture in Delaware is significantly better. That economic context supports the long-term demand for real estate here. And it's a real part of your financial return on owning here versus somewhere else. I gave myself that $12,000 a year, literally, salary increase by trading my property taxes across the PA line with my property taxes here. Coastal Delaware has been historically a solid long-term asset. I can't promise you a specific appreciation percent. No one can do that ethically. But coastal real estate in a market with a genuine lifestyle demand, constrained land supply, growing population has historically performed very well over the past 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years. And buying at this time for a long-term investment is a huge win, okay? The long-term fundamentals of coastal Delaware are so strong. And I want you to enjoy some of those financial benefits, okay? The one question that actually matters most right now, and the thing I've learned after years of doing this job, the buyers who are happiest are the ones who feel great about their purchase 5 years later, are the ones who asked and answered this one question absolutely honestly. Can I afford this comfortably? And does this purchase align with my actual life goals? Well, I'm here to tell you, 10 plus years later, the answer is yes and yes. Is the market perfect? Not. Are rates at their all-time low? Not. Did I get the absolute best price? These are things that matter on the margins. But the homeowners who bought a house that fit their budget, that they genuinely loved, in a community that matched their lifestyle, those people are almost universally glad they bought. Market timing matters much less than you think over a 10-year horizon. The people who struggle are the ones who stretched uncomfortably beyond their means, or who bought in the wrong location because it was cheaper, or who bought a house that didn't actually love because they panicked. Those decisions are very hard to undo, and they can be costly. So my challenge to you is this: before you ask, is it a good time to buy? Answer the question, is it a good time for me to buy? That's where the real work is. This is again about being reflective and really looking at yourself in the mirror and asking those questions. Okay, what your market actually looks like right now by area. Let me give you a quick snapshot by area so you have some real on the ground context, absolutely on the ground context. Lewis, still incredibly popular. A lot of demand for in-town walkable properties that are also close to the beach and neighborhoods. Prices have held firm. New construction is active in the surrounding areas. Shell Brothers, NVR, Lennar, Beazer, D.R. Horton are all still building, which gives you some inventory options that resale might not offer today. Rehoboth Beach, it's the marquee name of Coastal Delaware. In-town Rehoboth is an absolute premium market. Prices reflect that. East of Route 1 commands an unbelievable premium. So if you're looking here, you need to be prepared to move when the right property comes up, because quality inventory in Rehoboth does not sit. Absolutely does not sit. Bethany Beach, a little more relaxed. Put me in. Okay, a little more family oriented, still very strong demand, still very limited inventory in the beach block and close to the beach, segments. Dewey Beach, it's lively, it's funky, it's a different energy from Rehoboth or Bethany. It's really a quaint small market. Inventory is extremely limited here. And buyers who love Dewey really, really love Dewey. That whole Millsboro corridor, so we call it Millsboro, Dagsboro, Millville, Selbyville, all of that. The communities around Route 24, Bayside and Selbyville. This is where you get more square footage for your dollar. Gonna get a little bit more land, some new construction options if that's what you're looking for. A little bit further from the ocean, but you're gonna have the bay and canal access and unbelievable amenities. And really, in many cases, a more affordable price point. But for buyers who want coastal Delaware lifestyle without the super, super high price, that corridor makes a whole lot of sense. So what to do if you're thinking about making a move? What do you do? Where do you start? How do you figure it all out? And you've been watching and you've been listening, and now you're thinking, maybe it is time. Here's exactly what I tell you to do. If I could, write you a letter or tell you what to do, get pre-approved, not just pre-qualified. Talk to a lender. I can help with that. Ideally, one familiar with Delaware real estate, and get a real pre-approval letter based on actual documentation. This does two things. It tells you exactly what you can afford, which is clarifying and empowering, and it puts you in a position to move quickly when the right home that you want and you fall in love with it. Buyers who don't have their financing squared away lose homes to buyers who do. That's a full stop. Okay? Do your lifestyle homework. If you haven't spent time in coastal Delaware across all the different seasons, not just a summer vacation, do that. There is a real difference between summer coastal Delaware and off-season coastal Delaware. I love them both, but there is a difference. Some people love the quiet of the off-season, others don't. Okay, they're buying into. So visit at different times of the year. Work with a local buyer's agent. I know I'm a bit biased, but obviously I would love for you to choose to work with me. It's not about self-promotion. I know the market. I live, play, work, and thrive here. But absolutely work with a local buyer's agent who knows the communities, who knows the builders, who knows the quirks of specific neighborhoods and the HOAs. And that's something we always worry about, flood zones, who understands septic systems, someone who really understands what you are looking at online. Representation matters. Buyer's agents in Delaware are compensated through the transaction. It does not cost you extra to have the expert representation. It's all part of the negotiation. Use it. Use me for all I can do for you. Define your non-negotiables. Before you start touring, sit down and get honest about what you actually need versus what you actually want. How close to the beach? Year-round? Vacation? Do you want a community with amenities? Or are you looking for something without an HOA? Not necessarily going to be easy, but we can certainly work hard to make that happen. You really need to understand what you want because this is your choice, your journey. Next, call me. Seriously, I do free, no pressure consultations. We talk about your goals, your timeline, your budget, and I give you an honest assessment of what the market looks like for your specific search. No obligation, no sales pitch, just information and guidance so you can make the best decision for your life and your lifestyle. You know how to reach me, 610-357-0610. Find me here, find me on social media. I'm Live, Love, Beach to Bay. I live here, play here, work here, thrive here, and I really want to encourage you to absolutely do the same. So, is now or never the right time to buy in Coastal Delaware? Here's my honest answer for most people who have been seriously considering it. The never scenario is the one to be most afraid of. Not the market, not the rates, the never. Just, take the never out of the equation. The never is sitting 5 years from now watching someone else live in a house you could have bought, in a community you love, in a life you could have been living, while you were waiting for the perfect moment that never quite arrived. Markets are imperfect, timing is imperfect, life is imperfect, but buying a home you love in a place that brings you joy with a mortgage you can genuinely afford, that is not imperfect. That's pretty close to the whole point of my video. Okay? And if this video has helped you think through this decision more clearly, please give it a thumbs up. It genuinely helps more people find this content and helps me keep making it. I live here, play here, work here, thrive here. You know what I'm going to say. Until next time, live, love, beach to bay.